Alright, this video is dedicated to all my cousins, my little cousins, older cousins. Just talking about a few important topics, life shit. If you don't like it, take it for what it's worth, digest it, come up with your own perspective, go and challenge my beliefs if you don't think they're true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just to supplement what you already know and help you lead a more successful and meaningful, purposeful life. So I'm gonna start off with first question. Came up with a few topics. One of the first ones, embracing the unknown, right? So you're gonna come across that pretty much in theory on a regular daily basis, right? But what does that mean, right? There's gonna be situations where it's so new that you're not gonna know what lies on the other side, right? And that's scary. That is scary in any capacity. And glory lies on the other side of facing that fear. They say, it pays to be a winner, and it fucking does. I've won at a few things in life, right? How are we defining win, right? Like, I've done well in certain fields, I've done bad in others. But the times I did win, it was worth every fucking ounce of fucking pain that I endured to get to that point. You ever catch yourself thinking yourself out of doing things? That's because it's really easy, right? You're playing into the fear, right? That's what the fear wants you to do. It wants you to walk away. But again, glory is on the other side. It's pretty fucking simple. I could talk about that and give you so many examples, but it's not gonna do you any good. So there's probably something you're putting off. Oh, scared the fuck out of me. I have my earphones on. And there's probably something that you're putting off, and you gotta just go and face it. Just stop putting it off and go face it. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly probably if it's your first time. If you're a boy, going up and talking to a woman is scary. If you've never been taught how to do so, if you've never really socialized or had practice. They say there's a bunch of cool theories out there that say, like, if you're not socialized by the age of 4, it's gonna manifest itself in struggling to build good relationships in your adulthood and your teenagehood, XYZ, right? It all kind of builds on top of each other, right? If you've never done something, it's gonna be difficult. So it's like, that's why you see a lot of men with certain, society expects them to have certain skills by, call it 25, right? It's an arbitrary number. More or less, you're an adult by that point, and society has expectations of you by that point. I believe in being a contributing member of society, and you kind of got to carry your weight, and that takes the form in my head as like working, not being a fucking nuisance to people, being able to provide for yourself. And then once you pass that dependence level and you're on the individual level, then you can go into the interdependence, where it's like you can now contribute to the greater population. You go from dependent, independent, and then interdependent, right? Where you can now work amongst other people. Yeah, so I'm gonna beat that one. Yeah, you can think yourselves out of shit, think yourselves into doing something, jumping off the fucking leap of faith, right? Assassin's Creed, perfect like example. You go up to the tallest fucking building you can find, the Vatican, wherever it was in Rome, right? Assassin's Creed 2. You jump off. But when you jump off, you have this new piece of the map, like, unlocked. And I love that example, and my brain always defaults to it because it's so fucking true. You take that leap of faith, you don't know you know that there's something good is gonna come out of it. And even if you fail, like, you're gonna have this new perspective, right? Perspective versus perception. I think that's a good topic I talked to somebody about, or learned about recently. Your perspective is only unique and useful to yourself. I'm sorry, I had that reversed. Your perception is only unique. Tino's perception is only helpful to fucking Tino and nobody else. Now, all these people here, they all have perceptions of their own, right? If I kind of stand in their perception, right, gain some new perspective, having their perspective, it's useful for the greater good, and you can do more with that than just what Tino's needs are, because the world doesn't really care about what Tino's needs are. The world is doing what the world does, and it's a fucking giant machine, and it moves on without you. So if you want to win, jump into the shoes of other people, aka other puzzle pieces of the world, and you'll start to fucking understand why things are the way they are. Action. Take action, take action, take action. It's the key to fucking everything. You're gonna be better off than when you started. Yeah. Carl Jung says that the things that you're looking for are in the places that you want to look the least. And my interpretation of that is it lies on the other side of you doing the thing. Glory is on the other side of action. I fucking promise you. It's proven me right every single fucking time. Like, once you do something the first time, I think it's just a natural law that the second time you do it, like, you can't, it's like, for example, if I see something like a ghost or a fucking unicorn scaling the wall, it's like, I can't unsee that. Like, it's now in my mind. Like, I can't just dispose of that idea that my brain is already hardwired. Okay, boom, there's fucking creatures that can scale walls. Like, I can't unthink it. So now all my actions, all my thoughts are supplemented by that experience. The second time will always be better than the first. It's just, you need to have the courage to go and take fucking action. The power of solitude. This is something that's going to come with time and experience mostly. Eventually you take enough leaps of faith, you open up a different frequency of existence. It sounds so fucking vague and so like abstract, but you vibrate. Like, I believe in vibrations. Some people just vibrate at a lower level, and they're focused on worldly things that they can only touch and see, and the world isn't just tangibles. There's intangible parts of the world, like energy, right? Moods. People's moods are a good example of the intangible parts of the world, right? It's like, why all of a sudden are people flocking to this new product? People love novelty. Like, that's a special skill to be able to notice and take note of. Some people are just fucking sensors, right? Some people they can only see what's in front of them. You put a bunch of fucking dots on a chalkboard, a sensor is gonna be like, oh shit, I only see a bunch of fucking dots on the chalkboard. You get an intuitive person, somebody who can get abstract ideas and start kind of connecting them. They're like, well, yes, there's dots on the chalkboard, but at the same time, I can make a constellation. Oh, I see a happy face. I see a square. I see a triangle. I turn my head this way, and there's a. It looks like a hunter. It's Orion's belt, or whatever the fuck. If you're a sensor, you are disadvantaged. But at the same time, I like one of the quotes by Thomas Sowell. He says, there's no such thing as solutions, there's only trade-offs. There's some people who do really well. Sensors are good at tangible things, like sensors are very good at bodily movements, right? There's a lot of professional dancers, they're sensors. A lot of professional athletes, they're sensors, right? They kind of have this understanding of where their body lies in physical space. But in this world, I think you gotta have a kind of mix of everything. But if you're solely a sensor, you should make the effort to start developing that other side of the spectrum that you're lacking in. You're gonna have blind spots. You're gonna have blind spots, like regardless of what you're good at, right? So some people are more inclined in different areas. If you really want to be a fucking weapon, lean into what you're weak at, and you'll see yourself move up in the totem pole very fast. Frequency and state of mind enables good decisions. Yeah, I really do believe that living in a higher vibration enables you to make better decisions, take care of yourself. How do you do that? You surround yourself, right? Well, be at the forefront of your mind, Jim Rohn says. It's like, what ends up being an action was once in the subconscious, then came to your consciousness, and then you thought about it enough times to actually act it out. Whether that outcome was positive or negative, it started in the abstract, and then you bring it in, and then it comes out. How do you get to that frequency? Reading, talking to people. I love talking to people. Anytime I'm out by myself, I always talk to people. I always strike a conversation. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not. But I learn something every time I do. And man, you learn so much from people. It's like, again, you live a certain life, but unique to only you and yourself only. Yeah, there's probably people in similar situations as you. But it's like, you gain no benefit from that. Like, read books, actionable things you can do, read books, talk to people, observe how processes work in the real world, what works, what doesn't work, learn from other people's mistakes, save your time. But at the same time, having your own personal input is actually part of the process too. You have to play the game to get the most out of it. The world of discomfort, operating outside of your comfort zone, and how discomfort has shaped your decision-making process. Discomfort, right? You always hear people talk about how don't ask for an easy life, ask for a hard life, because God gives you not exactly what you want at the time. He gives you an opportunity to get to that point. If you don't believe in God, it's just put the square peg in the round hole, right? Like, if you don't see an opportunity, make one for yourself. It's easier said than done. That is a hard skill. I'm trying to figure out, how do you learn that. Right now, my answer is you just go out and you try and solve your situation, your problem, insert problem here, in the manner that you believe to be true or rational. And the feedback itself will course correct you into a better direction. It's like at work, right? As an XO, usually most problems can be solved in 1 to 2 phone calls. There's a subject matter expert or somebody who's been there, done that within the vicinity, or 1 to 2 calls away. And yeah, you don't have to be an expert. You have to be good at solving problems, and just part of solving problems is being willing to fail. Because again, there's like, some people do have the fucking spark notes on how to solve certain things, but they're gonna keep that for themselves. Not everybody is as, what's the word, gracious, or not everyone is as nice and is just going to give you the answers to the test, because they are a stakeholder in the game, right? Like, it's like giving away your fucking homework and there's like a no cheating policy. Like, if you get caught cheating, you're gonna get kicked out. So it's like, everyone is a stakeholder in the game. Everybody is. There's nobody who is indifferent. The only person who doesn't get anything out of anything, all of this, is, God, the Lord Himself. He made all this. Don't forget, we're animals, and there's a totem pole. Everywhere you go, there's a hierarchy, a power hierarchy. Excuse me. The faster you can read it and see what the winners are doing, the sooner you will be successful. I used to have people I looked up to, and they would tell me have these discussions with me. How do you win at life? How do you do the right thing? And it's like all this fucking mumbo jumbo, all this advice that they would give me would just sound so vague and abstract. I didn't understand what any of that shit meant or how I could apply it. And it was because I think that I just didn't have enough life experience to really make sense of it all. So just get out there and play the game, like, and you'll learn real fucking fast what any of this shit I'm saying means. I promise you what not to do, right? There's a lot of value too in knowing what not to do. Sitting at home and not going outside and interacting with people and playing the game, that's for sure gonna end in failure. Unless you're some fucking savant who knows how to make money online from his bedroom, congratulations, I wish I was you, but I am very risk averse. That's how I find my fucking dubs, is I kind of put myself on death ground, and I'm like, well, fuck it, I have to make it work. And then sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, but because of that approach that I take, like, it's a very fucking extreme take to it. And yes, it's extreme, but at the same time, like, the highs are high, the lows are low. At the end of the day, you're going to die. So it's like, fuck it, like, just go out and try. It's like, don't forget, like, not very long ago, there was fucking people dying on average at my age, 25 to 35 years old, like somewhere in between that realm. Like, that was the average age. Eventually, we came up with innovations in medicine and insert accomplishment here, humankind, but it's like, I don't know, kind of just breathes life into me, knowing that, like, if I was a Roman soldier back in the day, I'd be like, dude, all right, cool, we're gonna go fuck up the Persians. Let's go. I'm probably gonna die, but I have a kid and he's gonna carry on my legacy. Cool, let's do it, I didn't give a fuck, dude. I find it truly inspiring to know that there was people like, I don't know. I do know. There were just people out there doing crazy shit at my age. Fucking Napoleon. I think he was 24 years old. He was 24, 25 during the French Revolution, and he fucking, so many flaws here. And he fucking, that was his rise to power. He fucking, I think he led the revolution. I'm probably totally wrong with this, but most of my information on him comes from fucking Reels and TikTok, but I'll go back and I'll check, but I'm pretty sure he was under 26 years old when he was in the French Revolution. He kind of led that shit and got his experience there. Alexander the Great was about 31 years old and he fucking conquered most of the known world. So it's like, and you want me to sit behind a fucking booth and comply with this shit? Fuck no, dude. I'd rather die trying, bro. Fuck all that, dude. So, kind of just, there's a saying in the army, right? It's kind of like, kind of comes off as like, go fuck yourself. But it's like, you'll sometimes hear a field grade be like, oh, reframe your perspective. And there's truth to it. But it's also kind of like just brushing you off. But, yeah. A little discomfort. Operate outside your comfort zone. Death ground. Learned that from Robert Greene. It's one of the strategies. Burn the boats, right? You've heard fucking... God damn, there's a fucking chick right now. Butt-ass naked. And... burn the boats, that's probably like the most common one you heard from David Goggins is Hernan Cortez. He was skeptical about the loyalty of his his soldiers, and he burned the boats, right? So it kind of put everybody on death ground. So now everybody was an immediate stakeholder, being their life, on the line to make it. They needed to fucking win this fucking conquest, this invasion, if they were gonna ever make it back home and enjoy the spoils of their war. Because before they could even think about going home and seeing their wives eating their good food, whatever, they had to take care of the problem that was in front of them, which was conquering the Aztecs. So, having that fucking fire under your ass just fucking makes you go, man. That perfect. There's so as you know, I just bought a house recently, and I'll come clean. I was living with a buddy, and for free, and I stayed there, overstayed my welcome, and I'm very grateful for you. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate that a lot. I owe you one. I'm gonna pay you back someday, but I just needed that help. But eventually, I got to a point where I don't think it was gonna start affecting the friendship. And I left. And yep, I left. I was, during that time, I was paying off debt so I could improve my income to debt ratio, which I did. I don't remember, I think it was like 10 G's worth of 10 to 14, 15 G's of debt, because I wasn't paying any rent, so all that extra income that I had, that extra BAH money was going straight to my debts. And I was, long story short, I was homeless for 2 months. Homeless is an exaggerated word because I was just sleeping in the office that I was renting. Most of the nights were in the office. There was a few nights in my car. But yeah, I didn't have a home to go to. I was sleeping, waking early as fuck at the crack of dawn, leaving the office before people got there, so I wouldn't get caught and kicked out of my office. And yeah, that was stressful. Kind of put me on death ground again because the mornings were so stressful because I would have to leave. I would give myself a backstop of like 5 o'clock in the morning. If I wasn't out of there by 5 o'clock, like I'd probably run into some issues. Because I remember one time I think I overstayed it. I left like around 5:45, 5:30, and I fucking heard somebody open the door, and I like cortisol just shot through the roof. It was fun. It was fun. You can get away with that shit when you're like in your 20s, which I'm 25. I have no shame in doing any of that shit because I'm fucking winning now. Again, you live and you learn. But like that was a perfect example of applying the death ground strategy. Is like, dude, I was not about to go ask another friend if I could stay with him for another few months. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna live at the fucking at the office, in and out. I stayed at my work office a few times. And they were just like, sir, what are you doing here? I said, oh, I'm just working. I was homeless. But it put that fire under my ass to get that fucking debt paid off and start looking for a house. It was also another reason why I went unrepresented during the negotiation for my house. I didn't use a real estate agent, so I saved about 3%. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody that I was homeless. I think only a few friends knew. Because I don't want to put that stress on it, that I had them feel bad for me. I was like, I chose this. And fucking it's a beautiful bird. Yeah, death ground, burn the boats. Yeah, put yourself on death ground, you'll learn a lot. Go read a book about it. It's in the 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, or something like that. Books. Another little fucking tip that I've learned for myself is that most, in my opinion, fucking damn near all of the problems, all the earthly problems that we have here have been answered or experienced by somebody, and they've written about it in a book somewhere. I promise you that niche topic, it's a forum, it's an article, it's a podcast, it's in a book somewhere in the library, and it speaks to exactly what you're doing. Like, you are not unique in your experience. I don't know, let me rephrase that. It's like, I don't know, are we really unique? Because it's like, you see the reels of White Monster and the White Monster reels, and it's like all the guys liking that and commenting like, holy shit, that's me, or real. It's like, I don't know, maybe they have our data a little too, they've been data mined a little too well. Maybe we're all the same. But there's a lot of recurring themes, I'll just put it like that. There's a lot of recurring themes in life, and people have written about these things, and like, go enlighten yourself, go figure these things out yourself. It's like, if you're dependent on somebody to give you answers, you don't find your own, like, they will give you their answers. They will give you the answers that they want you to know. If you can't make a decision on your own behalf, somebody will make one for you. I fell early and fell often. Tell it to Gregory Matthew all the time. Time perception and the value of moments. Time feels different while traveling. It does. Like, I did this trip. I knew I needed to do this trip because I had some revelations when I traveled to Costa Rica by myself. Learned a lot. You learn a lot when you're just outside of your sphere. It's like, I'm trying to find the word or how to explain it, but like, here, right, the atmosphere, the culture, all contributes to the ambiance, the atmosphere, and it guides you. It guides your energy. It guides your thoughts. Like in the United States, right, everything is kind of, the center of gravity is your work, your job. That's why it's a free market, right? if you have the skills, if you have the products, if you can combine all the marketing and the products and what you know and come up with a great project, you can make it. Right? That's kind of what centers around, right? Center of gravity there. Here it's like enjoying your life, going about, having a good walk, enjoying your food, enjoying the company of those around you. Yeah, some of you might argue like, oh, well, I can enjoy my girlfriend, boyfriend's time in the United States. Yes, you can, but now we're on the level that they're doing it here. Yeah, no, it's just, you know how they say, you know, if you incorporate fitness into your life, it touches every aspect of your existence. It's the same here, like just the way things are affects everything. The way they engage in socialization, the way commerce is conducted, the way people run businesses, the way people talk to each other, the way people date each other, the way people view life, right? Kind of pick up on la onda, we say in Spanish. What's the vibe? Yeah. Again, some of this might seem abstract to you. It requires you to go out and go gain some perspective, and then some of these pieces will start working and kind of making sense. Time feels a lot slower here, so I'm in a relaxed state. Right? I'm being intentional about my visit here. Right? You know, learning, self-reflection. That's my intent with this trip, is to learn more about myself, how I interact outside of my normal circle, outside of my habits, my routine, outside of what I'm used to. Treating daily life like travel, right? So when I'm back home, back to the mundane routine and rote of regular existence in the army, well, you gotta find ways to, you have to find novelty in your regular day, because then that's when life gets really mundane and those thoughts start coming to your head and it's like, what's the point? What the fuck is the point of all this shit? So try to look for novelty, try to engage in novel experiences, novel ideas, thoughts, because this shit can get mundane real fast if you let it. My advice would be to go participate in the game, participate in the adventure. You might lose. As Jim Rohn says, he's like, it's all risky. You got risky the day you were born. You're not going to get out alive. So take that how you will. But to me, it's motivating. No, I do not want to listen to fucking music. The contrast between routine life versus experiencing something new. Routine life versus experiencing something new. Routine life, you think in systems. perfect example. So the guy, he's a biology teacher professor at Stanford University. He's the guy with the beard. I think he's an anthropologist. But I saw his video on YouTube, his lectures on YouTube. You know, he has his glasses, has a beard. I don't remember his name at this time, but I'll have a link in the description of this video. He says that people think in systems, right? He had an example of like all the main stops, the bus, train stops, subway stops in New York City, and he writes the patterns like 16th or 12th, something, 42nd Street, and it's like he was asking people in his class to fill in the gap. The only guy who was able to fill in the gap was the guy from New York City. He noticed that it's the streets of the stops, and the only reason he was able to figure it out is because he thinks like a New Yorker. Everyone else does not have that thinking pattern or that data set, and so they're just not capable of solving that pattern yet. So we think in systems, right? I've been programmed to think like an American, like a Mexican, in terms of solving life issues, right? I'm a very square peg in the round hole type of guy, at least now. It works though, it fucking works for sure. But I've been programmed my life, right? You know, my programming is based off being an only child. Your programming is going to directly affect how you think and how you solve problems. And being cognitive of that allows you to make corrections. If you're just a fucking NPC, just a fucking existing, floating, like, you're not going to make as many gains unless you're thinking about your thinking, right? Auto-metacognition, I think it's called. Metacognition. I forgot the word, but yeah. Gregory, Matthew, Max, little Johnny. If you're watching this, there's a metagame to life, right? Look up what that is, a metagame. It's like, a metagame is like the unofficial rules of a game, right? You know, it's like, think of it, I was talking to my buddies the other day. So a good example is West Point, right? So when I was at West Point, there's rules that are laid out. These are like hard rules written on paper, and like these are the do's and here are the don'ts. Don't do the don'ts, and then do the do's. If you do the don'ts, there's punitive action for it, right? There's punishment. There's consequences for that. But they don't talk about the metagame that exists there. The metagame is the unofficial rules of how to win, right? Studying habits that work really well, networking, getting a mentor while you're there, right? The cadets who have a mentor, they develop at like more than twice the speed as like a regular cadet, trial and error, me. They don't tell you these things. These are the kind of the gatekeepers, right? They know it works. They don't want you to get ahead, especially in a competitive environment like that. If anyone disagrees, I debate you that it's pretty cutthroat while you're there. Yeah, maybe you can argue that like maybe I wasn't good at networking. I was not. That was one of the things I learned about myself while I was there. I didn't know how to get along with people. I didn't know how to form friendships. Yeah. So there's a metagame, right? There's a way to win. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's not always moral, ethical. See what people are doing, right? That'll tell you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know, right? Actions speak louder than words. That is a fact, right? The Michael Malice, great speaker, he says the capacity for human beings to have cognitive dissonance is infinite, right? What is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is the the act of me saying I'm gonna go out and do these things. That, hey, I'm gonna be a great friend. Hey, when we go out there, I'm gonna be your wingman. I'm gonna look out for you, and then totally sweeping you off your feet, making you look like an idiot in front of women. Giving you that passive aggressive out in public, right? Like that is that says more about somebody than their words ever will, right? Passive. Trying to think of another game, meta game would be life, right? Go to school, graduate high school, get good grades, learn, be a good student, go to a good college, and then get a good paying job. That's kind of the script and pipeline they've laid out for us. Excuse me, but that's actually the plan to make a good worker out of you. The real fucking way to win is to develop a set of skills that are highly valuable to yourself and the world, market that, and then provide value in where you can charge your own price, right? And then now you're working for yourself, right? Now you have the freedom to do so, because most people are so busy working that they don't even have the time or capacity to learn, to think about how to get out of the game and get out of the box, right? It's like Tupac says, it's not about getting pimped. Like everybody gets pimped out at one point in their life, but it's like how long you let yourself get pimped. Kind of, again, like that opens up a bunch of doors of themes of agency. Have some agency, or else, again, a decision will be made for you, and it's definitely not to your benefit. We should do this thing in civil engineering. It's called, it's just a matrix, right? So it's like, you have like a political spectrum, right? On the horizontal scale, you'll have left, liberal, and conservative, and then top and bottom, it's like, what is it? I'm gonna look it up real quick, but it's like the different spectrums. It's like liberal, conservative, fascist, socialist. I'm not sure. Long story short, everybody is a stakeholder, right? So in a construction project, right, you'd have to kind of lay out all the people, right? Are the high need, high want, and then kind of where do they lie? Are they high need and high want, or are they high need, low want? I could be butchering that. I don't remember exactly, but figuring out where they lie, because everybody is a stakeholder in some capacity, right? And it's like taxes, right? Everybody's a stakeholder. Why should these tariffs and why should these taxes concern you? Because you are a direct stakeholder. You are like the end user of all these things, right? Right, like these imports that I think President Trump just implemented. I think they're designed to help take the burden of the taxes off the American taxpayer and have people on the outside pay for them. Something of that nature. I'm not an economist, but it's like trade-offs, not solutions. Trade-offs, not solutions. Energy is neither created nor is it destroyed. Have some agency. Figure out where you rack and stack on the totem pole and start looking at what the winners do. It's going to require you to put your ego away and eat some humble pie, but it's one of the first steps to getting better. Nobody tells you that, because we're all guilty. We're all fucking guilty of it. I'm very guilty of it all. But you'll see some gains. You kind of lower your ego. You listen to other people. Let's see. The art of observation. Pay attention to the small details. There's answers everywhere. Just learn how to observe. See what people do, not what they say. I learned a lot about them, kind of where their heart lies. And then one helpful thing that's kind of helped me, and I fucking believe this to be true because I had an epiphany. As soon as I turned 25, it's like all the fucking what is that person? I think so, maybe. Anyway, I fucking felt like my frontal, like I could. It's almost I felt my frontal lobe fucking develop, not in the literal sense, physical sense, but like just like holy fuck, like I just feel in control of all my thoughts now, or at least I can control them better than I did before. Because I remember growing up, I always had that little devil and angel on my shoulders, and I was just like, fucking Emperor Palpatine, do it. And then I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, fuck, this is probably not the best thing to do right now. But I'm gonna do it anyways, just to see what fucking happens. I'm curious what happens. And, but now it's just like, I am present. I am fucking present 24/7. Yeah. I'm curious if anybody else has had that experience. If you have, that'd be cool. If you could share it, I'd like to know. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, slow down, observing rather than rushing, right? You know, you're gonna. What's the that analogy, right? The guy saw the video of the dude. He's like, all right, how many? You look at the road for like 10 minutes, right? Tell me how many cars, red cars, you see, and then. Excuse me, it's like, you look at the road for 10 minutes and he's like, okay, how many red cars did you see? I think I saw 1, 2 maybe. All right, look at it again for 10 minutes, and then after 10 minutes, tell me how many red cars you see. And it's like, okay, now he's looking for something. He'll have a more accurate number towards the end, but basically, the moral of the story is, you're not gonna see things that you're not looking for. So if you're intentful on looking for a particular thing, idea, thing, physical object, or whatever, you're more likely to see it when you're actively thinking about it and trying to find it. I think it's a pretty simple concept. Who are you with your routine? Without your routine, excuse me. Who are you without your routine, right? I love this fucking question, right? I always tell people, it's like, you always see a bunch of fucking losers and lames kind of try and compensate for their lack of character and just unique in personality with buying clothes, material objects. Like, I'm talking about like the extreme end of things, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with buying material objects. I'd like to buy myself some better things, but, you know, what I'm trying to say is that, like, don't let material things be that placeholder. Like, don't be the material things, the things that give you value, right? You be the source of value, not external. Anything outside of yourself is not what makes you valuable. You yourself are valuable. Who is Tino when you strip him down of everything? Like, who is he? What is he? What is he capable of? That's your value. That is who you are, right? You hear billionaires and entrepreneurs be like, okay, you take away all my assets, you take away everything, and in 3 months I'll have it all back, right? Or I'll be a millionaire again, right? That is value, right? What can you produce on your own? That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's who are you after everything, right? A six-pack is priceless, right? You can't buy that at the store. That's discipline. Chest is fucking your pride, your confidence. Just what is your raw state and what does it translate to, like in terms of what you are? Like a fit body represents discipline and good habits and good decisions. A fat ass body, just fat fucking sloth, gluttony, lack of discipline, no agency, lack of initiative, a lot of things. Right? I discriminate all the fucking time. All the fucking time. If you look a certain way, you come a certain way, how you speak to me, how you fucking look, how you do something is how you do everything. And I fucking stand by that. It works. Yeah, what are you in your most purest state, I guess? How travel can force you to confront your identity. Yeah, so I'm an American living in a Latin American country, Latin American / European country, because that's what Argentina is, really. Fuck, I'm just looking up a little bit. Whew. Let's see. Yeah, so you have to, it's kind of, I'm the square peg and Argentina is the round hole that I'm trying to integrate myself into. So there's going to be a few parts that are probably going to get broken off as I'm trying to align myself with the model here. But again, I'll get it. It takes time. Or you take the time to refine yourself, improve my Spanish, improve the variations in Spanish, right? Certain words don't mean the same here than in Mexico. I can refine myself, right? Smooth out the edges, and it's a better fit. But just by participating, you'll get there. And I think that's kind of what it does. It exposes where your weak points are. And now you know. What do you do with that knowledge? You go do something about it. Go ask ChatGPT. How to integrate that mindset into your daily life, right? I already talked about that. Just things are gonna get boring. The impact of conversations with strangers. Yeah, strangers are gonna give you a lot of perspective on life. Like, simple as that. Whether they're poor or richer than you, you're gonna learn something new. New perspectives will reshape your worldview. Pretty simple concept. If you're around, that saying, if you're the average of your 5 friends and 5 people you hang out with, and if you hang out with less than 5 people, then you're more like that person than you think. So if they're good people, you're gonna be a fucking good person. If they're fucking winners, you're probably gonna start winning soon too. Yeah. Gratitude perspective. What I've learned here is my gratitude for, I'll say this. My appreciation for art, beauty, and aesthetics has been renewed, and yeah, it's been renewed. I'd say I really kind of take that for granted back home. At least in my scope of work, like, people don't really take the time to appreciate art, right? Like art, beauty, art, right? Like, you go into apartments and they have that modernistic minimalist look, and I used to think it was so cool when I was like 18 years old. Then I realized how fucking boring and soulless it is. Like, I walk into those apartments, I'm just like, this is gross. This is, what's the fucking point? I want a table, right? A table that's been handcrafted. It's been etched out, handmade, right? Using all those wood making tools. You feel the energy and the effort that carpenter took to make that piece of wood, right? I believe the way something's manufactured speaks a lot to its energy, vibe, how else you describe it, but its ambience. lack of a better term. It's the best thing I can come up with right now. But you see what I'm saying? It's okay, boom, an art piece was reprinted 1,000 times. That's fucking meaningless to me. I don't give a fuck. Maybe if it's a meaningful art piece that speaks to me, and maybe it's worth having up in my house. But, you know, if it's the Van Gogh Mona Lisa, yeah, fuck yeah, that's like, it's handmade, right? There was effort and there was passion behind it, you know? A print it's not the same as the original, right? Some homeboy was sitting there and with his fucking ear off and cut his shit off and crying over his wife, and you know, so he fucking put some effort in that shit. Yeah, things we take for granted in the States. I think it's time with each other. We're so busy all the fucking time. Yeah, go out and enjoy life, right? Go have a coffee. Go fucking sit on one of those little cafes around here and go have a little cafecito. And I ask for espresso. They look at me like I'm fucking crazy. They say cafecito here. Go have some good food, right? I'm gonna go get breakfast right now. I actually need to leave soon. I'm gonna go to Paraguay here soon. But I'll finish up. But yeah, beauty, aesthetics. It speaks to me. Gratitude can shift your mindset even in challenging moments. Yeah, it sure can. I remember listening to a podcast one time about Bud's training, and one of the guys, he's like, dude, Bud's was easy for me. And he says, and I believe this to be true, that there are certain things that are more painful than physical pain itself. There's certain experiences in life that are just fucking gut-wrenching, and I wouldn't wish them upon my enemy, like my worst enemy. But yeah, I believe there are certain things worse than death. Yeah. The story you tell yourself, what's the best thing that could come about this? And why can't it be me? Oh, my bad. So the story you tell yourself, that's the thing. And what I usually, here are a few things that I tell myself, and I'm just gonna read through them. What's the best thing that could come about this? And why can't it be me? Right? Everyone else, there's people just like me, regular dudes like me, who have accomplished great things. Remember when I was, like right now, it's like, oh, the fucking regular Joe Schmo, passed Bud's Navy SEAL. Why can't that be me? You know, or no, he passed Ranger School. Why can't that be me? Or you know, he broke a sub 2 hour 12-mile ruck. Why can't that be me? It can. It can. It fucking sure can, dude. So if it's been achieved, like, you are capable. You are a human being, right? I'm sure the guys who climb Mount Everest, they're just like, if he can do it, so can I. And that is a very motivating, it's an empowering thought process. People rarely made it to this age. Back then, we're still hunters and gatherers, just a different version. Yeah, like, there's still fucking hunters and sharks out there, right? You want to use the ocean analogy, like, when you go out, you have to believe that you're the most dangerous fucking person there. Like, you are the fucking megalodon in that club, in that fucking bar, in that restaurant, in that fucking social sphere. And if you don't believe it, you're going to get treated like one. Yeah. Learn to look a man in his eyes and not look away. Sounds kind of gay, but like, learn to look at people and not look away. It's a very powerful tool. It starts with you trusting yourself and your own capabilities. Know thyself, right? Another important concept. It's a great thing. Know thyself. My coach Hector used to tell us during training. He was my martial arts instructor, taught us Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu. And he would say, if you can control your body, you can control somebody else's, right? As above, as so below. If I can control my body better than yours, I have better manipulation of my movements, I'm gonna outmaneuver you every single time. If I have a solid grasp on this concept, I'm gonna outsmart you. in the mental arena, so to speak, right? In terms of business, right? If I know this business better than anybody else, I've been in every fucking level there is. I know this shit inside and out, forward and back. I know myself. I know the game. I'm gonna beat my opponent every time. I can control reality for other people in that sphere. Again, like, we're animals. At the end of the day, there's predators and there's fucking prey. Which one are you? Figure it out. I like the thing that Jim says, I said it earlier, be at the forefront of your mind, right? It starts off as the abstract, then it enters the subconscious, then the conscious, then it comes out as actions. Who are you? What are you capable of? Right? Sometimes. Take those moments. David Goggins, he talks about like having those little checkpoints because you're always on the go. Sometimes take a moment, take like 5 minutes, recompose yourself, right? Breathing. The power of breathing is very powerful. There's books on it. You can physiologically reprogram your physiological state by breathing, controlled breathing. It's very powerful. And there's a lot of tools out there. Kind of reassess where you're at, where you're going, how am I going to get there? Simple plan, executed violently. Very army thing to say, but it works. Travels help rewrite / edit those narratives that you have about yourself, right? So we have these narratives that we kind of tell ourselves. Travel allows you to kind of come to a stable state of vibration, so to speak, and kind of recompose yourself and analyze yourself, where you lie. Is this what you wanted? Is what you want actually something different? Yes, no. Figure out what it is that you want, and gauge your situation and figure out where you're going, how you're going to get there, and anticipate. Right? Another thing too, the most successful people can anticipate things. Right? I remember listening to the podcast. Somebody say that people who can anticipate, right, or I'm sorry, after a certain amount of income, you can anticipate further into the future. I think it was, I'm just gonna give an arbitrary number. It's like once you make $500 a week, you can anticipate, I think it was like 2 weeks into the future. And then if you can anticipate 2 weeks into the future, you can make decisions, more long-term decisions, right? As opposed to, fuck, what am I gonna eat like in the next hour? Oh, all right, well, I have my food now. The next step would be shelter, right? Okay, how am I gonna get $70 to go get a hotel room at the Motel 6? Your standoff, and it's another army term, but your standoff starts to go farther and farther out. The more information you have, the better skills you have, and the more refined you are. Health, wealth, skills, and relationships. Those are like the 4 ways to make money that Ty Lopez talks about. And the more you refine yourself, you can increase your standoff. You can stand off in the army is like, okay, right now I can only see like up to 150 meters in high vis conditions. In low visibility conditions, rain, nighttime, your standoff might only be like 20 fucking meters inside of that, right? You can't really see too far out. So as you understand, have a more holistic understanding of how things work, you can see farther into the future and you can make plays farther on. That's business in a nutshell. And then question your self-limiting beliefs. You all have self-limiting beliefs. You've been telling yourself something for years. I can't make money. I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not strong enough to do that. Well, yeah, if you tell yourself that, that's more than likely going to be the outcome. it's like if you go into a wrestling match and just like, I'm not gonna win this. One of my favorite wrestling matches that stands out when I was in high school is there's this dude. If you're a wrestler, you know this, right? When you get to a tournament, you weigh in, and then it isn't until you get to the fucking, the seats at the mat, right? You're having a duel, and that's kind of where your like primal instincts kicks in, and you kind of already have an intuition of who on the other fucking team is going to be your fucking who on the other team is going to be your fucking opponent. And I swear to God, 9 out of 10 times I was right. And I remember this one match. It was at Santa Fe High School, and this dude, I was like, there's no fucking way this guy is 160s, or I don't know if I was 170 at the time. And I'm like, there's no way he's my weight, and the grass looks greener on the other side, right? Obviously he's my weight. He weighed in just like everybody else. There was a 1-2 pound tolerance, so he's within 1 to 2 pounds, right? Obviously you pig out after, and then we wrestled, and I teched this guy. This whole time I was just like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna beat this guy. This guy's like, he was taller than me, he was bigger than me, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Again, I can't see in, I can only see out. Maybe he was feeling the same shit, but I just remember, I was like, neutral, boom, start the match. I take the first shot, I take him down, and then I don't know what, my brain was just like, it made a quick plan, took him down, fucking wrestled him down, held him down, I let him get back up, or he got back up himself. I took another shot, and then somewhere along the way my brain clicked, and it was just like, holy fuck, this guy's getting tired. I've just been taking shots and manhandling him down on the ground. And I was like, holy fuck, well, maybe if I do this enough times, I'm get a nice little lead. And eventually I took him down enough times, I got points, the 2 from the takedown, and then he'd get up, net 1 point for me. And what I'm trying to say is that eventually my brain figured it out, came up with a quick plan, and I started executing it. And eventually I started getting near full points because I was going for submissions, and then eventually I had a 50-point lead, and they called the tech, and I was like, what the fuck, that went by so fast. That match for me was life-changing. So question your self-limiting beliefs, and nothing's set in stone. You can change your destiny. Like, you have input in your life. But what's next, right? How I'm using this trip for self-discovery, just taking it all in. What's next? Training. Always being ready for shit to pop off. Being as sharp as I can, right? I'm a blade, and I keep refining as it gets dull. Alright, well, good day. It's my last day in Argentina. I'm going to Paraguay today. Check out some stuff. Go get some good food. Alright, go.